When a sharp-eyed nurse uncovers a secret that could save a dying oil magnate, she risks everything to expose what the doctors missed. The sun set over the sprawling city. Lights flickered on in every high-rise. At the top of one, a lavish penthouse welcomed its owner, Victor Kane. He was an oil magnate, powerful and ruthless. His every word commanded respect. The room was filled with expensive art and the scent of fine whiskey. "Boss, the deal's almost done," said Tony, his right-hand man. "We just need one more signature." Victor nodded, his jaw tight. "Get it done, Tony. I want this wrapped up by tomorrow." His voice was cold. He didn't tolerate failure. Just then, a knock on the door broke the tension. "Enter," Victor called. A nurse stepped in, her scrubs a stark contrast to the luxury around her. Her name was Mia. She looked determined, but a hint of apprehension crossed her face. "Mr. Kane, I need to check your vitals." Victor raised an eyebrow. "I'm fine." "I don't need a nurse." "This is important," Mia replied, stepping closer. "You've been pushing yourself too hard. Your health, it matters." She held his gaze, unflinching. He could see the fire in her eyes. Victor sighed. "Fine, do your thing." He leaned back in his chair. Mia moved quickly, checking his pulse and blood pressure. As she did, she noticed something odd. "Mr. Kane, have you been feeling dizzy at all?" "A little," he admitted, his confidence slipping. "But I'm busy." Mia's brow furrowed. "Busy doesn't mean invincible. If there's something wrong—" "Enough!" Victor snapped. "I don't need your concern." Mia took a step back, her defiance still present. "You may not want it, but you need it." Her voice softened. "You're not just an oil magnate. You're a person. You matter." Victor stared at her, taken aback. No one spoke to him like that. His heart raced, but not from anger. For a moment, he felt vulnerable. "Let's just get this over with," he said, trying to regain control. She nodded, but as she continued her checks, Mia's face changed. "I think I see something different." She leaned in, her eyes scanning his skin. "Have you had any unusual marks or swelling?" "I don't have time for games," Victor snapped, but the unease crept back in. Mia's expression was serious now. "This isn't a game. You need to take this seriously." Victor paused, the weight of her words settling in. Something was shifting, and he could feel it. The next hit was closer than they knew. Victor sat back, still processing Mia's concerns. He could feel the tension in the air. "Look," he said, trying to regain control. "I don't have time for this. I've got a deal to finalize." Mia crossed her arms. "And what good will that deal be if you collapse?" She wasn't backing down. "If you want this empire to last, you need to be alive." Victor's jaw clenched. "Are you threatening my business?" He leaned forward, narrowing his eyes. "Because I can make your life miserable." "No," she replied firmly. "I'm trying to help you, but if you don't listen, I can't promise to cover for you." Victor frowned. "Cover for me?" Mia took a step closer. "Yeah, you think I don't know the stakes? Your health is tied to everything. Your deals, your power. If something is seriously wrong, it could all fall apart." The desperation in her voice struck a chord. Victor felt a flicker of vulnerability. "Fine," he finally conceded. "Let's say I agree. What do we do next?" Mia relaxed slightly, sensing she had gained some ground. "First, we run some tests. I'll need blood samples and an MRI." She paused, gauging his reaction. "I can set it up." Victor sighed heavily. "And if it's nothing?" Mia smirked. "Then you buy me lunch. But if it's serious—" She let the sentence hang in the air, leaving him to fill the gaps. Victor nodded, the weight of her words hanging over him. "All right, let's get it done. But if this turns out to be a waste of my time, you'll regret it." Mia just smiled. "You won't regret saving your own life." Victor watched her, the tension still crackling between them. As Mia prepared to leave, he called her back. "What if I didn't just want a nurse? What if I wanted someone I could trust?" Mia turned, surprise flickering across her face. "Trust? With you? That's a dangerous game, Mr. Kane." Victor leaned back in his chair, the stakes rising. "I'm willing to take risks, are you?" She hesitated, her heart racing. "I suppose we'll find out." Before she left, their eyes locked. A silent promise formed in that moment, and neither of them knew how much it would change everything. The next hit was closer than they knew. Mia stepped out of Victor's penthouse, her mind racing. She had gotten through to him, but it was just the beginning. In the hallway, she leaned against the wall, taking a deep breath. The confrontation felt electric. Victor Kane was a force, but she wasn't intimidated. Not anymore. Back inside the penthouse, Victor slammed his fist on the desk. "Who does she think she is?" He cursed under his breath. This nurse was testing him. He hated it, but that fire in her eyes, it made him hesitate. He shook his head. "Focus, Victor. Get the deal done." The next day, Mia was waiting for him in the clinic. She had set up the tests, and the medical staff moved quickly around them. Victor walked in, his usual confidence barely holding up. "I'm not in the mood for games today, nurse." His tone was sharp. Mia glanced up, unfazed. "Then don't play." She picked up a syringe, her hands steady. "Just sit still. We need to figure this out." Victor bristled at her tone. "You think you're in charge here?" "Oh, I know I am," she shot back, meeting his glare. "You're not the only one with power. This is about your health. That matters more than your pride." She drew the blood, her eyes focused. Victor gritted his teeth. "Pride?" He leaned in closer, his voice low and intense. "Don't mistake my drive for arrogance, Mia. I run this city, you're just a nurse." "I'm more than that," she replied, refusing to back down. "I can walk away any time, but I choose to be here. You may have control over deals, but right now, I have control over your health." The air between them tightened. Each word was a challenge. Victor stepped back, caught off guard. He hadn't expected her to push back like this. "You're bold," he said, surprising himself. "But you should know, I won't be easy." Mia smiled slightly. "I didn't sign up for easy. I signed up for a challenge." Their eyes locked, and the tension simmered. He could feel something shifting, something deeper, but he wouldn't let it show. "I'll make you regret that," he warned, but there was no heat in his voice. "We'll see about that," she replied, her heart pounding. She would take him on. Maybe she already was. Someone was listening in the dark. Mia stood in front of Victor, the tension still thick in the air. "Listen, we need to set some ground rules," she said, her voice firm. Victor crossed his arms, the challenge clear in his eyes. "Rules? I don't play games, nurse." "Then you better start learning," she shot back. "You're not the one calling the shots here." He raised an eyebrow. "Oh, really?" Mia leaned in, lowering her voice. "If you don't take care of yourself, everything you've built could crumble. That's the first rule. Your health comes first." Victor frowned, the weight of her words sinking in. "What's next? You want to tell me how to run my business too?" "No," she replied, keeping her gaze steady. "But I will walk away if you ignore my advice. You won't get any help from me if you don't want to help yourself." Victor sighed, rubbing his temples. This wasn't the kind of pushback he was used to. "What if I don't like your rules?" "Then you'll have to deal with the consequences," Mia said firmly. "I won't cover for you. If I see any signs of trouble, I'll report it." Victor's jaw tightened. "You're threatening my business." "I'm protecting it," she replied, her tone unwavering. "This is about your life. You need to choose to fight for it." Victor shifted in his seat, his mind racing. Mia was right. He could lose everything if he didn't get this checked out. "Fine." He finally relented. "What's the next step?" Mia relaxed but kept her professionalism. "We get the MRI results. I'll be with you every step of the way." Victor nodded, trying to regain control of the situation. "And if the results are bad, then we deal with it," she said, her eyes piercing into his. "But know this, if I find out you're hiding anything, it's over between us. No second chances." The finality in her voice hung in the room. Victor stared at her, the challenge evident. "You really think you can just walk away? I won't let that happen." Mia smirked, amused. "You don't get to decide that. I'm not your possession, Victor." Their eyes locked in a silent standoff. The stakes were high, and neither of them was backing down. In that moment, Victor realized that Mia was someone he couldn't control, and that scared him more than any deal he ever made. The tension crackled between them as an unspoken question lingered. What would happen if they crossed the line? Mia sat in the waiting room, her heart racing. The MRI results were due any minute. She pretended to read a medical journal, but her mind was elsewhere. Victor's stormy presence left her uneasy. Just then he walked in. He wore a tailored suit, confidence radiating off him. "Hey, nurse," he said, leaning against the doorframe. "Got room for a little chat?" His smirk was playful, but Mia couldn't shake the tension. "You have the results, right?" she replied, meeting his gaze. "That's what I care about." He stepped closer, his voice smooth. "Come on, Mia. Don't you want to know how I plan to celebrate after this?" "Celebrate?" She raised an eyebrow. "You mean if you get good news?" Victor chuckled. "Or if I don't. Either way, I've got my ways." She crossed her arms, refusing to be drawn in. "You're playing games." "Maybe," he replied, leaning even closer. "But you're still here." Mia held her ground. "I won't be played, Victor. I'm not one of your deals." Victor studied her, impressed. "You're a challenge. I like that." "Don't mistake my resistance for interest," she shot back. "You don't intimidate me." He tilted his head. "Are you sure? Because I see a spark." Mia held her breath. There was an undeniable chemistry, but she wouldn't let him see it. "I'm focused on your health, nothing else." "You're not my type." "Really?" he challenged, a laugh escaping his lips. "What's your type?" "Someone who doesn't push back." "Someone who respects my boundaries," she said firmly. Victor stepped back, the smile fading. "Tough cookie. I can respect that." The moment hung in the air between them, thick and electric. "Just know," he said, leaning in slightly. "This isn't over. I'm not one to back down." Mia raised an eyebrow, holding his gaze. "And I'm not one to give in." She could feel the tension shift. Was this a power play or something more? The unspoken question lingered as they both waited for the results, the stakes rising with each heartbeat. The next hit was closer than they knew. The gala was buzzing with energy. Crystal chandeliers sparkled above, and elegantly dressed guests mingled. Mia adjusted her dress, feeling out of place among the city's elite. She spotted Victor across the room, surrounded by powerful men and women. He wore a confident smile, but his eyes were focused on something deeper. As she approached, Victor caught sight of her. "There you are," he said, his voice smooth. "I was beginning to think you'd bail." Mia rolled her eyes. "And miss out on this?" She waved her hand, taking in the crowd. "Not a chance." "Good. I need you here." He leaned closer, lowering his voice. "There are whispers of a deal going down tonight. I don't want any distractions." "Right, like I'm just here to hold your hand," she shot back, her tone playful yet serious. Victor smirked. "You know that's not true. You're more than that." He stepped back, scanning the room. A sudden tension rippled through the crowd. Mia looked around. Something was off. "What is it?" Before Victor could respond, a loud crash broke the conversation. A server had dropped a tray of glasses, shattering them across the floor. Guests gasped. Victor's expression darkened as he assessed the crowd. "Stay close to me," he instructed, eyes darting. "What's going on?" Mia asked, her heart racing. "Just a distraction," Victor replied, his voice steady, but she could see the tension in his jaw. "I'm not liking this vibe." He nodded and pulled her to the side, away from the chaos. "I can handle this, but I need you alert." Suddenly, a figure swept into the room. The atmosphere shifted. Victor's gaze sharpened. "It's him," he muttered. Mia followed his line of sight to a man in an expensive suit. He was flanked by a couple of tough-looking guys. They radiated danger. "Who is that?" she whispered, feeling uneasy. "A rival," Victor replied, his tone flat. "We can't let him know we're onto him." Just then, the rival turned and spotted them. Victor's posture shifted as he flashed a casual smile. "Time for some charm." He took a step forward, his voice loud and confident. "My friend, good to see you here." Mia felt the tension in his body. She instinctively reached for his arm, grounding him. He glanced at her, surprised by the gesture, then turned back to the rival. "Let's chat." As they moved deeper into the crowd, Mia's heart raced. She could feel the stakes rising. Victor was playing a dangerous game. Would he pull it off, or would the rival make his move? In that moment, she realized just how much she wanted him to succeed. He thought he was in control. He wasn't. The gala buzzed with energy around them, but Mia noticed the tension building in Victor. As he spoke to his rival, his smile felt forced. She could tell he was on edge. "Victor, are you okay?" she whispered, leaning closer. He nodded, though his eyes betrayed him. "Just business," he said, brushing it off. "Let's keep focused." The rival smirked, his eyes sharp. "You're looking good, Victor. Moving up in the world." Mia felt Victor's muscles tense. "Always," Victor replied, his voice steady. But she could see the cracks forming. As the rival left, Victor exhaled sharply, frustration spilling over. "This guy is trouble." "Talk to me," Mia urged. "What's really going on?" Victor hesitated, scanning the crowd. Finally, he stepped back slightly, lowering his voice. "5 years ago, I lost everything. My brother, he got involved with the wrong people. They came for him, and I couldn't save him." His words hit Mia like a punch. She hadn't known. "I'm so sorry," she replied softly. Victor shook his head, anger simmering. "I thought I was untouchable, but it was my fault. I was too focused on my empire." He ran a hand through his hair, his vulnerability clear. "Now I can't let that happen again. Not to anyone else I care about." His eyes met hers, and she could feel the weight of his pain. "That's why I can't let my guard down." Mia placed a hand on his arm, grounding him. "You're not alone in this, Victor. You have people who care." He looked at her, a mixture of surprise and gratitude in his eyes. "You don't understand. I can't afford to feel that way. Not with my past." There was a rawness in his voice that made her heart ache. "Maybe you need to let someone in," Mia said gently. She could see the conflict in him. "You don't have to carry this alone. We're fighting for something bigger." He studied her, the tension lingering. "You really think I can change?" She nodded, her eyes steady. "If you let me help, I believe you can." But as they stood there, the shadows of the past loomed large, and Mia wondered if Victor could truly break free. The next hit was closer than they knew. The gala was at its peak when the lights flickered. Mia felt a chill. "Victor, something's off," she said, scanning the crowd. Victor had been calm, but now his jaw was tight. "Stay close," he instructed, pulling her to his side. A loud crash echoed again, and the crowd reacted. Mia's heart raced as she caught sight of the rival again. He was moving through the guests, a smirk on his face. "I don't like this," she whispered. Victor's gaze followed the rival, tension radiating from him. "Just a distraction," he replied, but she could tell he was lying. "Victor," she said, her voice firm, "you need to focus." But she could see the flicker of fear in his eyes. "They're not just here to chat." He moved closer to her, a protective stance. "If they want trouble, I'll handle it." She shook her head. "Not alone. I'm with you in this." Suddenly, chaos erupted. The rivals' men moved in, their intentions clear. Victor's expression hardened. "Get behind me," he ordered. But Mia stood her ground. "I'm not hiding." The rival laughed, a smug sound. "You think you can take me on, Victor? You've already lost once." In that moment, something shifted in Mia. She stepped in front of Victor, facing the rival. "You're not going to intimidate him," she said boldly. Victor's eyes widened. "Mia, no. I won't let you hurt him." The rival sneered, but Mia felt a surge of loyalty. The tension between her and Victor had changed. She was no longer just his nurse. She was ready to fight for him. Victor took a breath, his respect for her growing. "I appreciate this, but we don't need to escalate," he said quietly. But Mia felt the heat of the moment. "No, we need to show them that they can't mess with us." As the rivals stepped closer, Victor took her hand, squeezing it tight. Their connection deepened, both knowing they were in this together, no matter the outcome. The stakes were higher than ever, and neither of them would back down. The next hit was closer than they knew. The night dragged on after the confrontation. Mia and Victor found a quiet corner of the gala away from the crowd. The tension was thick, but there was a shift between them. "Are you okay?" Mia asked, searching his face. He nodded, but his eyes told a different story. "I will be," he said, but they both knew it wasn't true. Victor leaned against the wall, arms crossed, trying to shake off the stress. "Things got a little too heated back there," he admitted. Mia took a step closer. "You don't have to pretend with me, Victor. I saw the fear in your eyes." He looked at her, surprise flickering across his face. "You're more perceptive than I thought." "Maybe I just care," she replied softly, her heart racing. The distance between them shrank. "This isn't just about business for you, is it?" Victor hesitated, weighing his words. "No, it's personal. It's always been personal." His voice dropped. "I can't lose anyone else." Mia felt the weight of his words. "You won't lose me. I'm here." Victor looked away, struggling with his emotions. "You shouldn't be. This life," he trailed off, frustration evident. "It's dangerous." "I know," she said, keeping her voice steady. "But I can handle it. You don't have to carry this alone." Victor met her gaze, the tension in his shoulders easing slightly. "You really mean that?" She nodded. "Yeah, I've seen what you're trying to do. It matters." The air between them thickened. They were no longer just nurse and patient. There was something deeper, something real. As silence enveloped them, Mia took a breath. "Victor, she started, but he interrupted. "Mia, They both paused, and in that moment, everything shifted. They leaned closer, their faces inches apart. The world around them faded, and all that mattered was this connection. But just as they were about to close the space, a loud crash echoed from the main hall. They pulled back, hearts racing. "What now?" Victor muttered, a hint of frustration creeping back. Whatever was coming next, they both knew they'd face it together. He thought he was in control. He wasn't. Mia and Victor stepped back from the moment they almost shared. The loud crash pulled them back into the chaotic reality of the gala. "What was that?" Mia asked, her heart racing again. Victor's eyes narrowed. "We need to check it out." He took her hand, guiding her through the crowd. As they approached the main hall, they could see a group of men gathered around a small table. One of Victor's men stood shouting, "You can't just take it!" Mia glanced at Victor. "What's happening?" Panic crept into her voice. "Something's gone wrong," he said, urgency in his tone. "We have to find out what." Victor pulled her behind a pillar for cover. "Stay here," he said firmly. "I'll handle this." Mia shook her head. "I'm not hiding. I'm with you." He hesitated, then nodded. They stepped closer, straining to hear. A man held up a piece of paper, waving it angrily. "You're lying. This was never in the agreement." The tension was palpable. Suddenly, the rival from earlier emerged from the crowd, a smug grin on his face. "What's this? Can't keep your house in order, Victor?" Victor glared at him. "This isn't your business." The rival leaned closer, voice low. "I have proof you're in deeper than you think." He pointed to the paper. "This document will ruin you." Mia's stomach dropped. What was on that paper? Victor lunged forward, but the rival stepped back, a smug look on his face. "You can't touch me, not now." Victor's fists clenched. Mia grabbed his arm. "Wait." She caught a glimpse of the document. Her breath hitched. "Victor, that's the contract from last year." She remembered it all too well. "You signed it without checking the terms, didn't you?" Victor's face turned pale as realization hit. "No, it can't be. This is how it ends for you," the rival taunted. "You're trapped." Mia felt the weight of the moment. They were standing on the edge of disaster. Victor's entire empire was at stake. She turned to him. "We can fix this. We need to get that document." His eyes flickered with determination. They had to act fast. But as they moved, a chill ran down her spine. Were they already too late? Mia and Victor huddled close, the tension thick as the rival's words sank in. "You're trapped," he sneered, and Victor's face darkened. The crowd around them murmured, eyes darting between the three. Mia stepped closer to Victor, adrenaline coursing through her. "We can't let him get away with this," she whispered, her heart pounding. "Get out of my way, Mia," Victor snapped, his frustration bubbling over. He looked ready to explode. She noticed the way his hands trembled, the pressure closing in on him. "This isn't just about you," she shot back, unwilling to back down. "If you go after him, it'll only make things worse." Victor turned to her, his eyes fierce. "I don't care. I'll do whatever it takes." The rival laughed, clearly enjoying the chaos. "You really think you can fix this? You're facing a storm, Victor." He waved the document, taunting them. Victor's jaw clenched. "Stay calm, Mia," he said. But her instincts told her they needed a different approach. "No more fighting," she urged. "We have to outsmart him." Sensing the shift, Mia took a deep breath. "Let's not react. Focus on the plan." Victor hesitated, the fire in his eyes dimming slightly. "What do you mean?" "We need to figure out how he got that document first," she replied quickly. "There has to be a way to counter this." The crowd continued to watch in silence, anticipation thick in the air. Victor nodded slowly, the weight of her words sinking in. In that moment they shared a glance, an understanding passing between them. But as Victor took a step back, the distance grew. "I can't risk you getting hurt," he said, his voice low. "I won't put you in danger." Mia felt the sting of his veiled rejection. "I can handle myself, Victor. You're not leaving me out of this." He shook his head, frustration etched on his face. "You don't understand. This is bigger than us." As the rivals smirked, sensing their rift, Mia felt a sense of dread wash over her. "Victor, please," she pleaded. But he looked away, the pride that once connected them now a barrier. "I need to handle this alone," he said, turning his back. The finality in his voice hit her hard. She felt the sharp edge of separation as he distanced himself. She couldn't breathe. "No, we can't just walk away." But Victor had already disappeared into the crowd. Was this the end of everything they had built? Victor stood in the crowd, his heart racing. He had to regain control, but the moment with Mia lingered in his mind. He couldn't just walk away now. He had a plan, and it would cost him. He needed to show her he could fight for them. He pushed through the guests, searching for the rival. Victor spotted him near the exit, still flaunting that smug grin. "You think you've won?" Victor shouted, drawing attention. The rival turned, surprise flickering in his eyes. "What's this? Victor wants to play." "I'm not here to play," Victor replied, his voice firm. "You think that document gives you power over me? You're wrong." He stepped closer, crowd parting as he moved. "I'll give you what you want. I'll take the fall." The rival raised an eyebrow, intrigue replacing his initial confidence. "What do you mean?" "I'll pay you to drop everything," Victor said, voice steady. "I'll relinquish my shares, my influence. Just let Mia and my team go." The crowd gasped. A hush fell over them. Mia stood at the back, eyes wide. "Victor, don't!" she shouted. But he ignored her, keeping his focus on the rival. "You must care a lot for that girl," the rival replied, a wicked grin forming. "But do you really think I'll believe you?" Victor's jaw tightened. "I don't care if you believe me. Just take the deal." He felt every gaze on him, and the weight of his decision pressed hard. The rival considered it, tapping his chin. "All right, let's negotiate," he said, pulling out a pen, "but this will be costly." Victor nodded, knowing he had to make this sacrifice. He could give up power and wealth, but not Mia. As he focused on the task ahead, he caught her eye. She looked scared, yet proud. "Stay with me," he said softly, looking back over his shoulder at her. "I won't let you down." But as the rival scribbled on paper, Victor sensed something was off. Was he falling right into a trap? The stakes kept rising, and time was running out. Would his sacrifice be enough to save them both? Victor stood there, watching the rival scribble on the paper. His heart pounded. "What's your price?" he asked, trying to control the situation. The rival looked up, his grin widening. Oh, it's more than just money, Victor. You know that. Mia moved closer, her voice sharp. Victor, don't do this, she urged, fear lacing her words. We can figure this out without giving everything away. He glanced back at her, his chest tightening. She was right, but he felt trapped. I have to protect you, he replied, voice low. This is bigger than me. The rival laughed, the sound cold. Protecting her, or trying to control everything. Victor flinched, but knew the rival had a point. This is my life, he snapped. I'll do what I need to do. The rival shook his head. Life isn't about power, Victor. You're losing sight of what matters. You can't buy respect or love. Mia stepped forward, her eyes fierce. Victor, if you think this will fix things, you're wrong. Love isn't a transaction. It's about trust and equality. Victor felt the weight of her words. It struck a chord. He had been hoarding power, pushing her away while he fought. What do you want? He asked the rival, voice steady. Let's make it a trade, the rival proposed. Your shares for her freedom. No strings attached. Victor's pulse raced. He glanced between Mia and the rival. So you want to own me too? The rival shrugged. You're already owned by your fear. Admit it. The crowd remained silent, all eyes on the unfolding drama. Mia stepped closer to Victor, her voice steady. We need to make a choice here, together. Her gaze locked onto his. It's time to decide what really matters. Victor swallowed hard. He understood now. He couldn't swap power for love. They needed to stand together or fall apart. Then let's choose freedom, he said, a new resolve in his voice. But as the rival's smirk faded, Victor sensed the storm wasn't over. Would they stand against it, or would fear pull them apart? Victor stood in front of the rival, his heart pounding. We choose freedom, no deals. The rival's expression shifted from smug to furious. You think you can just walk away? He spat. Victor took a step forward, determination in every muscle. I'm not afraid of you. Mia stayed close, her hand gripping his tightly. Together, she whispered, giving him strength. The rival laughed, but it was hollow. You'll regret this, Victor. You think you can escape me? Victor shook his head. I'm done running. The rival's eyes narrowed as he stepped back. This isn't over. With that, he turned and vanished into the crowd, leaving a heavy silence behind. Victor let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. We did it, he said, looking at Mia. Her relief was clear, but there was something deeper in her eyes. But what now? She asked, worry creeping in. Victor paused, running a hand through his hair. We rebuild. Together. Mia smiled softly. I'm with you. No more hiding. They moved through the crowd, hands clasped firmly. The tension that had filled the room began to fade. Victor felt lighter, the weight of the contract slipping off his shoulders. No more barriers between them. They were ready to face whatever came next. Weeks later, they stood in a small office, the view overlooking the city. Victor adjusted his tie, glancing at Mia. She looked stunning, her confidence shining through. Ready? She asked, excitement buzzing in the air. More than ever, he replied, a new fire igniting in him. They were not just partners in business, but in life. As they walked out together, the sun set behind them, casting a warm glow. It mirrored their new beginning, bright and full of hope. You know, Victor said, pausing at the door, I wouldn't want to do this without you. Mia smiled, her eyes sparkling. And I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. They stepped into their future hand in hand, ready to take on the world. What do you think makes a relationship strong? Trust, love, or something else? Let us know in the comments. She was about to cross a line.